So we use the harmonic minor scale to build harmonies. It's a very common way to make sure that our 5 chord turns out to be a major 5 chord, which gives it that extra tendency that we want, and also gives us a leading tone up to the tonic. Let's listen to the harmonic minor scale real quick here. Right? You hear that big interval right there. It almost gives it like a kind of a typical, like, I don't want to say like a Eastern sound, but it kind of is that. Like when we want to write things that have that kind of Eastern sound to it, we like to use that because of that big interval right there. So let's make our diatonic chord progression using the harmonic minor real quick here. Let's just see how it all lines up. So A, C, E. So everything's going to be natural except for G. Right here, I need a sharp. It's the one we didn't look at. We'll come back to that in a second. Let me just write all this out. Sharp there is our 5 chord. G sharp, and then A. Okay, so let's look at what that did to our diatonic chord progression. First chord, still minor, A minor, unaffected. Second chord, still diminished, B diminished, unaffected. Okay, our 3 chord is affected. C, E, G sharp is now a chord we haven't looked at yet in this class, but we did in the previous class. This is an augmented chord. Now, when we looked at augmented chords in the previous class, what I told you was an augmented chord does not naturally occur in the diatonic chord progression, but with some extra little banging around, it does, and this is one of those cases. So this is our first instance of a naturally occurring diatonic chord progression, augmented chord. Just a quick refresher, an augmented chord is when you have a major triad on the bottom and a major triad at the top, right? So in most cases, we have either a minor triad at the bottom in a minor chord, and also in a minor chord, we'll have a major triad at the top, or in a major chord, you'll have a major triad at the bottom and a minor triad at the top. But in a diminished chord, remember, we have a minor triad at the bottom and a minor triad at the top. And an augmented chord, we have a major triad at the bottom between these two and a major triad at the top. So when we're using the harmonic minor, we get an augmented triad on the 3 chord, which is interesting. The 4 chord is minor, unaffected. The 5 chord is now major. It was normally minor in a minor key, but now it's major. The 6 chord, unaffected, still major. The 7th chord is now a diminished chord. So what we have here is 2 diminished chords, one here on the 2 chord and on the 7th chord, and an augmented chord on the 3 chord. So our harmonies get a lot more colorful from doing this. Now, in all practicality, and remember, I guess I didn't say, but here we have our A again, so that's a minor chord, same as this one. Now, in all practicality, when we do this, sometimes we leave this G as natural, although it does serve a good purpose, because what this does is push us up to here, up to the 4 chord, which can be valuable sometimes, because the 4 chord is also one of our tendency chords, but it's not nearly as strong as our 5 chord. So sometimes that G sharp does help, but sometimes we just leave that one natural. That can be okay. And now if we did that, we're back to a major chord here. But let's leave it. And let's hear this whole thing using the harmonic minor scale. Right, it's a little more what's the right word? It's a little more Phantom of the Opera to me, I guess. I wish I could think of a better, more musical thing to say about it than that. But it just has a little more like I don't know, Renaissance kind of sound to it to me. But that is using the harmonic minor scale. That's what we get when we put those all together into the diatonic chord progression. Now let's shift gears and talk about the melodic minor scale. It is a little bit weirder. So let's jump to a new video and talk about melodic minor.